Hello, happy Thursday. How's it going? Man, I have had a traumatic day, a week actually. And I wanted to talk about that. I have a couple groups on Facebook, and one of them is called Questions You Are Not Allowed to Ask. That was geared towards people who offend people with their questions. I personally was kicked out of a group that I helped create for asking a question about, we're getting bombarded with, oh, there's no good or evil or no right or wrong, but you're so stupid and wrong that you don't understand that and you can't ask that question here and blah, just a proof of level of your ignorance. And anyways, so I decided, screw it. Okay, because, really, to me, it just like, if there's no good or evil, or no right or wrong, why was everybody so pissed off about the dude killing the lion? Right? Okay, so anyways, in that group, it has come up that a lot of us are suffering from trauma and various types, and I wanted to discuss that, real talk about trauma. First of all, what we need to understand here, every single person on the planet is suffering some type, to some degree, of trauma. From the time you were born and taken from your mother's womb, bright lights and separated and put in some cage and, and then if you're a boy, you were sexually, genitally mutilated. Yeah, we call that circumcision. By the way, look that up in the American Medical Association Encyclopedia. Circumcision is not a medical procedure. More often than not, there are very, very, very few cases where it was medically necessary. On the contrary, it causes medical problems and trauma. I'll tell you a little bit about my journey with trauma. I didn't know I had it, like most of us do, right? We're judging everybody else, and, I'm perfect, and I have all the answers. I listen to the news, or my parents, or politicians, or pastors, or whatever. And it wasn't until, I think I was like 38. I love books. And I like to buy books, used books, places that I'm at. So on one trip, I was in Arizona and came across a book called Waking the Tiger, Healing Trauma. Whew, I bought that book because I thought it would help me help other people. I had no idea that it was written about me. So I get a few chapters in and they're explaining things that we're not taught in normal psychology classes and things. And yeah, we all hear about fight or flight, but we don't hear about the freeze and that our cells hold on to these traumas, even if it's something that we agree with. For example, a medically necessary surgery that you agree and consent to as an adult. Even though you feel in your mind and your heart that it needs to be done, your cells in your body are holding on to something else. Whoa, what the fuck is entering here? And oh, when you're giving me drugs and I can't fight or flight, I'm frozen, right? So now that we got that out of the way, if you were born, you have some degree of trauma in a hospital, I should say. If you are a male and were circumcised, you have some degree of trauma. If you are any human, male or female, and you have been raped, abandoned, betrayed, in the military, say boot camp, in war zones, whether you agreed to go to them or not, we were born in them. Let's see, anybody in an accident, anybody ever have a surgery, anybody traumatized by drugs and doctors and drugs that don't work, or say paralyzed by a vaccine or a shot or some of the things that have happened to me in hospitals and drugs, or governments. Now that we got that out of the way, okay, every single human on the planet is suffering some type of trauma. What do we do about it? Do we want to use it as a window of opportunity? Thank you, Sherry Cortland. Her book, Windows of Opportunity, she talks about relationship villains, and I love that. Instead of looking at things as negatively or, being mad at this person who betrayed you and wanting to get revenge or look at it as a window of opportunity for growth. So do we want to do that and focus on the blessings that it has brought into our lives? Yeah, I'll get into that. Or do we want to close down and get jaded and bitter and judgmental and take our pain out on everybody else? Yeah. Okay. We can blame, we can shame, we can project, we can, oh my God, she or he left me and took everything I have and I'm never going to get over it. Now I hate every single member of the opposite sex because you're all out to get me, or whatever. That actually came up in the group recently. So, or do we use it to fuel, say, our sensitivities, our levels of compassion and empathy and understanding, connecting with other people and helping them heal? Look, once we realize that we all have trauma, we can look in the mirror and see ourselves for what we are instead of pointing out everybody else's faults. Can you think of one thing that you judge or have judged somebody else for? I mean, like silly things, like people don't like homeless people. People don't like fat people. People don't like certain color skins. People don't like certain color or certain belief systems. People judge what kind of car. Oh my God, who would drive that? Or, oh my God, look at her shoes. Can you believe she did? You know what? What if that's all they have? I remember a kid, I talked about this recently with a friend. It came up, how they were talking about, some stinky kid in school and ew, so gross. And then I remembered, we had that. Yeah, his name was Dean Z. And yes, I do still know your name. I'm just not going to put it out there. And, I was your friend. I was the friend of all the misfits and, I was beat up on and all of that stuff too. But I do have to admit, I, didn't want to get too close to you. He smelled like urine every single day and the same dirty clothes. Now, those of us who came from a home where we had clean clothes or were groomed to be princesses, say, or whatever, that's all we know. We had no idea what was going on in this kid's world. Did he have a medical condition? Was he homeless? Was he living in a tent? Did he even have parents? We don't know, but we judged him. I think a better approach would be to look at ourselves and realize our own, I don't even want to use the word shortcomings, I'll use the word challenges, okay, our lessons. What are we here to learn and teach in this earth school? Okay, so when we have issues, whatever they are, okay, I have sexual trauma, or I have PTSD from war, or I have PTSD from ritual abuse, or, whatever it is. Own it and take the steps to work towards it and use that fuel to have compassion for others. Now, maybe they don't have the same trauma, okay, or the exact same degree, or maybe they haven't experienced it at all yet at that point in their life. Or maybe they have something totally different that you don't understand. Oh, he's an alcoholic. Oh, he's a druggie. Oh, she's a prostitute. Oh, he's whatever, right? Yeah, all of these things that you or you self-proclaimed non-judgmental people judge, right? So, we can use it to fuel compassion for others and help each other on our healing journey by what? Remembering who we are. Okay. And I think this needs to be said. Having trauma, like we all do, is not an excuse to lash out or abuse or project or blame, shame others. It's not. At least without responsibility and acknowledgement. Okay, I do realize there's some severe cases. People wake up in the middle of the night, you know, get home from war and freak out and accidentally, you know, hit the, you know, they don't know what's going on. They're in a dream and whatever, woken up from trauma, and things like that happen. The key is acknowledgement and taking responsibility, okay? So you have a bad day, whatever, we all do. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that, or I wasn't feeling, you know, whatever. Then we can move on. So how do we heal from trauma? I know everybody hears, oh, self-love, blah, 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 and nobody will love you till you love yourself, and, you know, which is total bullshit. But because we're loved unconditionally when we're brought into this earth, most of us, right? So how do we love ourselves? What do you love to do? What feeds your soul? What makes you happy? What makes your heart sing? Is it being out in nature? Is it dancing? Is it painting? Is it taking bubble baths with lots of flowers and salt and essential oils? Is it building? Is it boxing? Is, you know, whatever it is for you, writing, do more of it. Stop saying no to yourself and accepting the comfort level, however painful it is, and take a risk. Step outside that, okay? Play your music, do your art, do whatever, and let that fuel your creativity, which in itself is healing. Now, a lot of us, I know with trauma, and I'm going to talk about this in another video, we believe we're not creative. Right? We are so shamed and blamed and cast aside and whatever that, you know, we have no talents. We can't do anything right. So we do nothing, or we do just what we're told to. Yeah, her. Yep, that's me. Uh-huh. Yeah, I did all that. Yep. Okay. What we need to remember is the universe is always, I know it sounds cliche. Sorry, I'm not trying to be a dick. But seriously, the universe is always conspiring for our greater growth. So whether we use it for that or not is a completely different story. Okay, so whatever it is, for example, the way I'm able to bless people, it's only because I experienced the things that I have. People who have been able to bless me. Smile, be kind, whatever. It's only because they understood, because they're going through the same things. Now, I know a lot of us don't want to admit it because we're all perfect. It's only them that are suffering. And you know, then we're taught, oh, well, have compassion for people with mental illness. It's not their fault. But do you hang out with them? No, because she's crazy. Right? Yeah. Okay. So, getting back to self-love and healing. Chances are you are living a life where you are not following your heart. I'm living proof that you can do it and still survive, right? So why wouldn't you at this point, number one? Okay, number two, when it gets to self-love, let's say you're having a bad day. What would you do if that was your child having that bad day, or your parent, or, you know, loved one, partner, or your pet? How would you treat them if they were having a bad day? Would you, or sick day, or whatever? Would you nurture them with, say, some homemade soup, or some chocolate, or pizza and Netflix, or Netflix and chill, or, you know, whatever? Would you draw them a bath? What would you do for your loved one in the same situation? Now, you do that for yourself. Okay, I know what do they say? Love your neighbor as yourself. I say love yourself as your neighbor because it's easier to love them. It's easier to love other people, right? We pretend to be all perfect, but when we get home, most of us are like, oh fuck, I suck, and oh I should have done better, and mommy you'll never love me, or daddy will never. Yep. So I've learned. Yeah. So we can use each of these windows of opportunity for growth. One of my friends, he did, I'm not going to say your name, but you know who you are. He was on drugs for a good part of his life. And he was able to break free from that, like completely, entirely. And he is such a good, natural counselor, compassionate being. Like, that truly is his calling. But would he be able to be as compassionate and wonderful as he is to everyone else had he not gone through the shit he went through, right? So most of us were judging the drug addict, right? But we don't know anything about his past or how he got there or how he's using that to self-medicate. Well, maybe he's self-medicating, or she, or whoever, because they were traumatized in doctors and drugs or whatever. Or maybe that's all they know because they grew up with their parents that way. Don't judge the person. Have the heart. In Lakesh, remember, I am another you. We may not be exactly the same place, the same time, and the same wavelength, but we're going through the exact same trauma. Are you in America? Do you have our president? Do you have our last president? Or the one before, or the one before? Yeah, we're all being traumatized. Do you turn on that TV and get told how ugly you are every day and how you just need to buy 40 different things to make yourself look like a Photoshop stick figure that isn't even real to begin with? Women? Yeah? Yeah? Were you raped or in ritual abuse? Now, do you want to blame every person or take it out on everyone else, or steal love, push love away from yourself because of fear of what other people did long ago? How is that helping you? How is that healing you? Refusing love because you're afraid to be hurt again? Okay, that's life. Again, another window of opportunity to grow, to learn. What mistake did I make? What red flag did I ignore? Or was it just not meant to be? Okay. Pick up the pieces. We have the power to do that, but only by loving ourselves. And another thing about loving yourself is saying no. I know a lot of people who've been traumatized that stay in their traumatic environments. Why? Because they're afraid, well, what if I end up like Christie? Well, last year, last month, or today, or 6 years ago, or 10 years from now. Is that really so bad? I'm still here, okay? Self-love is saying no. Saying yes to your heart, yes to what feels good, no to abuse, even if it involves a paycheck. There are other ways, and I hope that my journey, if you have been paying attention, can inspire that truth in you. There's always another way, but if you're following your heart, you will always get there. Okay, so be the change you want to see. Be that love and support that you want for yourself or everyone else around you. That's how we heal the collective trauma. Okay? All right. And you know what? Labels, this and that, PTSD, blah, blah, blah. Again, we all have it. It does not define you or who you are or your future or your past. Okay? You define that with the choices that you make today. Are you going to use that fuel for change, for helping others, for loving others, or loving yourself? Are you going to let it get the best of you and just, fuck off everybody and fuck off world and kick your dog? Whatever. The choice is yours. But I hope you choose love. Thanks for listening. Christie Aphrodite. You can find me everywhere, whatever, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and I don't even know, every place, whatever, YouTube, Daily Motion, I don't know, whatever. Have a good day. Bye.